left-footed on the sands of Tatooine. I am Boba Fett.
So we finally get a preview that is longer than 30 seconds. The return trailer is probably one of the more interesting sneak peeks since the release of the trailer, so let's get straight into the breakdown. The preview opens with Boba Fett seemingly sneaking up on Jabba's palace. On his back we see a Tusken Raider gaffi stick, most likely the same one that we saw Boba cracking skulls with in The Mandalorian. Given that Boba is still dressed in this way, we are most likely seeing Boba before the events of The Mandalorian Season 2. This is a Boba who has not received his armor from Mando and might not have met Fennec just yet. In the distance, you can actually see the same massive door Artoo and C-3PO walk through when attempting to rescue Han Solo in Return of the Jedi. In the next shot, we see Boba in a Bacta tank, which was also shown in a previous TV spot. Then we see Boba Fett suiting up, and this likely takes place after he takes over Jabba's palace. We see him put on his deadly knee rockets, which we also saw in The Mandalorian Season 2, and if you pay close attention to the music in the background, you can actually hear the sound of a sonic charge going off. The sonic charge and its iconic sound is of course something pretty synonymous with Boba Fett's ship. The next few scenes are already pretty familiar given that they have been used repeatedly in the other sneak peek previews. In one of the scenes we see Boba Fett meeting a few crime bosses, and if you pay close attention to the background you can actually see a white droid. This is the same white droid that works in the torture chamber of Jabba's palace. The droid that we see here is 88, a smelter droid that was reprogrammed to assist in the task of torturing, especially torturing other droids. We also get a scene where we see a squad of speeders speeding across the desert. If you pay close attention to all of the riders, they are in fact the same alien species known as the Nikto. And this is pretty interesting given that in The Mandalorian Season 1, Mando encounters a gang of Niktos. So it could be the case that the Niktos that we see in the Book of Boba Fett preview might belong to the very same gang that was holding Grogu hostage. We continue to see the Niktos terrorizing some local inhabitants on Tatooine before the door opens to reveal Boba Fett dressed in white garments and what looks like black smudges potentially caused by blaster fire. And if you pay close attention to Boba Fett's face here, it's pretty clear that he hasn't fully recovered from the ordeal in the Sarlacc pit or has just emerged from the Bacta tank after being saved, which means that the events that we see here have happened before the events of The Mandalorian Season 2. So this is highly likely the same episode as the scene where we saw Boba sneaking up on Jabba's palace, and is also most likely the same episode as we saw the Niktos riding the speeders. Next up, we see more speeders riding through the streets of Tatooine. As the speeders race through the street, it bumps into a droid who promptly curls up. This droid is a pretty familiar one in the Star Wars universe as it was first introduced in The Phantom Menace. The droid that we see here is the DUM series pit droid, and is extremely common especially in places where a lot of mechanic and repair work is needed. We see shots of Fennec pulling out a hidden knife and more scenes of the mysterious criminal organization dressed in red. And in the next scene we get another shot of an orange Twi'lek, which could potentially be linked to the other mysterious Twi'lek that we saw earlier in the trailer, perhaps hinting to us of a criminal organization run completely by the Twi'leks. And finally, in the closing scene, we see Boba Fett and Fennec Shand roll up and look down past some metal grates. This would indicate that the scene we are seeing here is set in Jabba's palace. And Boba, using Jabba's movable platform, has rolled up to look at the Rancor pit located down below, very much like how Jabba rolled up after sending Luke down the pit to face the Rancor. This would also mean that Boba might have just sentenced someone to die, which would explain the reason for this shot. So that was the breakdown for the Return trailer. Let me know what you think about this video. Did I miss anything? What are your theories about what is to happen? That's all for today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. I am the Lost Acolyte,
and I have spoken.